Well, finally came in the mail. This is the new ESC that I just ordered, made by Scorpion, as you can tell. And basically all we're going to do here is just take a look and see what's inside the box. Comes in a cardboard sleeve, as you can see here. You slide it out. Now this comes wrapped in plastic, but I took the plastic off just to spare you all the grief of me trying to wrestle with it. It's a real nice tin box, logoed all over the place. And for those of you who are row hosts or who like to be row host compliant, these products are compliant. And take a look inside. Inside, as you can tell, you get greeted with your programming card and a plastic cover. All right, here's your programming card. This is an infrared style programming card. It comes with a battery that you have to put in, which good thing about that is means the battery hasn't been in there, so it's a full battery. So let's move on. Next, you get a series of stickers. You actually get 4. I took one out. And now for the ESC itself. Here it is in all its glory. Nice gold or anodized gold. You get your 3 leads. Get your signal wire, battery power, everything that you would expect to see in a ESC. These wires they feel kind of rubbery. Feels like a good quality rubber coating on these. I'm not sure how well they'll take to the soldering gun, but we'll find out. Let's see, put that over there. This is your IR receiver for the radio, and this will plug into your ESC when you're ready to start programming. Some packing foam, make sure everything stays nice and tight inside the box. And of course, you get your typical manuals. This is for setting up the governor for the first flight. I probably don't intend on using the governor, but if you want to learn how to use the governor, go ahead and read this piece of paper. It'll give you more than enough information to set up the governor. And for the instruction booklet, looks pretty straightforward. Tells you how everything plugs in. Looks like it's written in English, so you don't have to worry about dealing with English, which is pretty good. So that concludes what comes in the box. Well, since the unboxing of the ESC, I went ahead and installed it. I also installed a new servos. There's one of them. There's the other 2. The nice sticker kit that comes with the servos, I was able to label the servos with numbers, and then on the connectors down here, I went ahead and labeled them with the corresponding numbers, so when I start unplugging them, I know which ones go into which channels. Kind of makes it a little bit easier. As you can tell, the motor is out. It's waiting for the new motor to come in. I went ahead and already set the head up as best I could using my swash leveler. Leveled the swash. Everything else was pretty much level until I started playing around with the pitch of the blades on the setup. And then when I went to set my positive and negative, I ended up having to go back in and re-level my swash, and now this is where everything is currently set at. So everything is pretty much level at this point. We won't know how level it is until maiden. And we flip over. There's the brand new ESC. This thing is nice. One thing I found out with this is that if you don't have your motor connected and you're trying to set your servos up, this thing will get really hot. But every time I had a motor hooked up to it, it stayed nice and cool. So that's just one thing that you might want to pay attention to when you're using this ESC. I don't know if it's just the way it's made or if it just needs to have the motor hooked up to it. That was just one of the things I noticed. So remember, whenever you're playing around with this ESC, you need to have your motor connected so that it doesn't burn up. There are safeguards in there to shut it down, but if you're not actively using it, I don't know if the safeguards are even going to work. And then to program this beast, come down here, like I showed you earlier in the unboxing, you have the infrared controller that's used for programming, and then you have the infrared receiver. I currently elected to go without it inside the helicopter. I figure it's already set up. I got some pretty good settings in there right now, so if I ever have to reprogram it, I just unplug the speed controller from the receiver, plug it into those 3 prongs. If you notice it says brown, that's where your brown wire goes. And then I can go through and flip the switch. There's a switch up here. If you flip it over to IRS, you can then program the ESC using the infrared remote. Doesn't make it easier, any harder. I'm mixed about it at this point. I'm sure if you left this inside the helicopter the whole time, it could make it a lot easier. The nice thing is that it was included with the kit, so you didn't have to go out and wonder if the program code was going to work. So this really did help out. It did make it a lot quicker. The manual I found to be a little inaccurate. After watching a video on the internet on how to set this thing up, the internet was a lot more accurate than the instructions. So go ahead, give it a try, see if it works for you. If not, then go on the net and see what you can find. But it might be about another 2 weeks before I fly, unless I decide to add this bad boy back in there. Once I do, I got to figure out how I'm going to route these cables. I'm thinking about doing the connections inside the airframe, just so I don't have to drag them across 2 pieces of carbon fiber up here. If I connect to the outside, I would run it up underneath the battery and out the left side, and then run the battery cables out of that hole right down there. Right about there's where that hole is. That's where I'd run the cables out of. So I'm gonna try and avoid from doing that. So I don't know, we'll see. But here it is, rebuilt for the most part. I took it completely apart, tore it all the way down. Every screw came out, every bearing that I could actually get to come out. I oiled it, cleaned it, re-oiled it, whatever. The head, I had already done the head, so I did not tear that apart again. The head is running pretty smooth right now. The only thing I think I may need are new dampeners up here in the head, but those will be on order when I place my next order. So we'll see what happens there. And then as far as the tail goes, I had posted earlier. Looks like I have them both hooked up, so I can't tell you which one it is, but one of these, I think it's this one. It's got, or it has a ratcheting effect to it that I really don't like, and I believe it's being caused by the bearings. I don't recall, or I don't think I got Loctite in them, but it is highly possible that I did. So that's probably what the issue is from when I first built it. But again, this is something we'll find more about later. I do have this piece is due in here within the next week or so, so we'll see what happens on that. Oh yeah, the replacement night head bars for this model. They're quite a bit shorter than what was originally on there. Originally, your horizontal fin would be right about here, and this is where they're at now. So it's considerably shorter. These tips are plastic. Everything comes molded together. You got your carbon fiber rod. This all comes glued together. The only thing that you have to do is kind of force your screw through there. So I just opened up the hole a little bit with a hobby knife. Things went together rather well after that. So I really don't know if there's any more benefit or no benefit from having the shorter nighthead bars, but that's something that we'll have to check out in the future. Other than that, what's left to do, possibly the gyro. See if I can get this thing to focus. And there we go. It's the Asan GA250, and I do have the cable running underneath and down inside. And of course I'm waiting for my motor still, and the last piece I'm looking at of making Savox next is the tail servo. So yes, this at some point will have Savox all the way around, and I may be ordering, or I may be selling this tail servo, and I will be, if I decide to sell it, it will have an extra set of plastic gears to go with it, because that's what the servo comes with already, is plastic. So I have an extra set of gears, so that'll go with it also. Other than that, I hope everything is looking good. Let's spin it around one more time, give you another look. Not much on this side, and that's pretty much what we have going. Another shot right there, looking down the tail. Oh, there we go. Oh yes, one more thing before I forget. The tail shaft. I ended up ordering off of, I believe it was Hobby Wing, a Chinese company. They offered the Taro products, and I found this tail shaft, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. As it turns out, the shaft is a little bit shorter than what was on here originally. This shaft, I believe I ordered from the V2 Sport, because on the image the shaft looked exactly like the one that I had, but when it shipped to me, it was the new style tail shaft where they drill a little hole at the end down here for your set screw to screw into. That ended up working out. I ended up having to recenter my pitch slider and everything with my push rod. So I don't know if that's going to have any effect on the total amount of throw that I'm going to have. If so, might be able to compensate with maybe a little bit longer rotor blades. Oh, we'll see. But that's pretty much the finished product at this point. So thank you for watching.